Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. For this tutorial, this is a combination of things. I've had quite a few requests, and we had an uptick in buttercream flowers for orders in the bakery. So I thought I would do a video showing you how I do my buttercream flowers and tie in the brushed ombre at the same time. And this was for an order. So what I'm doing here is I have some thickened buttercream. I like to do my center cone with thickened buttercream. I just find that there's more stability in the flower and while I am piping it, and it doesn't want to lean to one side or the other too much, and it doesn't get weighed down with the petals. So I have that bag ready, but I'm also using one of my silicone molds that I got from Temu because there are some rose buds, and I want to show you how you can make rose buds or use silicone mats, a lot of them, with just buttercream. You don't have to use fondant. It depends on the mold and the detail. And this is a more basic shape and size, so it's pretty easy to do with buttercream. And I just popped that in the freezer until I was ready for it. Now I'm using that large round tip with the thickened buttercream, and I pipe a pretty tall cone. And then I use a large large petal tip with the thin end out and the thicker end towards the center. And I like to do a tight middle center. You hold your bag up a little higher at an angle to get that middle center, and then do 2 petals around that. It's just an arched shape. You start touching your buttercream on the bottom, not on the bottom, but underneath the center, and you kind of just do an arch shape. And as you are going out to your outer petals, you can angle your bag out a little bit to get a little bit more fullness if you like to. I don't like to go too far with that angle because I find that it makes the roses a little too flat, I guess is the best word I can use. And I don't know if you notice that I don't actually pipe all the way down to the bottom of my cone. It's tall enough that I don't need to go all the way down to the bottom. And my petals, I like to go a little higher as I go out so that your center is more nestled in, instead of your center being the highest point and your petals being the lowest point. From a profile view, I feel like that makes them look a little bit not as real. And then after your row of 2 around the center, you can do another row of 3. It's suggested to do rows of odd numbers. So like after you get your center 3, do another round of 3, then go with 5, and then go with 7, go 9 if you want to go wider. Sometimes you just kind of have to go with it until, just overlap them until it looks like a good shape. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell when to stop. And then I just put them on board on their parchment squares and freeze them until I'm ready to use them. And some of them I did a little less open, more like buds that are slightly open, and then some smaller. I used a smaller petal tip to get just some variation in sizes. Now those are firming up, and then we're gonna get our cakes ready. This is a 2-layer cake, or a 2-tier cake. 6-inch on the top and an 8-inch on the bottom. Each one of them has 3 layers of cake and 2 layers of filling. They were already pre-crown coated for me, thanks to my co-workers. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in the details and the things that need to be made done ahead of time that they go ahead and prep the cakes for me for the orders, which is fantastic. So I'm doing my final layers of buttercream. I did end up doing 2 layers of buttercream on this one because it wasn't smoothing out as much as I wanted it to with the sharp corner. It just depends on the weather sometimes. If it's hot and humid, your buttercream will want to soften too much, and it's kind of hard to get those firm, crisp corners. So if you just do a good, decent layer and then get it as good as you can, don't mess with it too much, pop it in your freezer and get that base layer or your first layer nice and firm and chilled. And then you'll find that your second layer, like I'm doing now, goes on so much better. And just mess with it till you get it where you want it. And you can see that my corner is a lot crisper. I didn't show you the top tier because it was exactly the same thing. And I did not use my star cutter this time because, honestly, when I'm in a rush, I don't need to do that because I know where they go. But I do like to show you guys so that you have that little helpful hint to do on your own until you get to the point where you don't really need it anymore. Then put a little buttercream, brought my top tier out of the freezer. It was in there for about 10 minutes to firm up nice and firm for me, and placed it on the top. And then I'm using a skewer right down the middle that was sharpened with a pencil sharpener, and then just cut it down to about an inch shorter than the height of the tier, push it below the surface with another piece of skewer, and then fill in the hole. Now I'm doing the brushed ombre. I'm just using a pastry brush because they didn't want it, they wanted it more irregular. So I'm using a blush on the top, and it's just blush food coloring, mixed gel food coloring. Don't try to do that with the color mill. It does not work out well. It gets too clumpy. It doesn't like to be mixed with alcohol. Found that out the hard way. I have another video where I do this same type of technique that I haven't edited yet because it didn't work out real well. That's how I learned. There was a lot of fixing it, so we'll see if I end up posting that one. But anyway, so I just used pale pink gel color mixed with a little bit of ivory to get this blush. And then it's mostly, it's like making a watercolor. It's mostly the Everclear. You could use vodka also, with just a touch of color. And just kind of play with a paper towel till you get your color the way you want it. The intensity and the right color. Just kind of add more of this, add more of that till you get it where you want it. And then we have the sage on the bottom. I'm trying to remember what I used. I believe I used avocado with a little bit of ivory. Ivory is a good neutralizing color to add to your colors, guys. If you're getting too intense of a color or too bright of a color, add a touch of ivory, and it kind of just tones it down and neutralizes it. And I'm just, turning the turntable, and I'm holding the brush and letting the turntable do the work for me. Yeah, just kind of eyeball it. This part is actually, it's pretty easy. It seems intimidating. I know it seems very intimidating, but it's actually pretty easy to do. You can see I added a little bit more. I don't know where that footage went, but it was the same thing. I just added a little bit more depth in the green. And then I brought my buttercream roses out of the freezer. You have a little play time, but not a whole lot. They do soften pretty quick. If you find that they're getting too soft, just pop them back into the refrigerator or the freezer to get them firmed up again. 5-10 minutes is all it's going to take, really. And then I'm just using buttercream to attach. And you can see those little rosebuds. I didn't really even need to add any buttercream behind them because there was a little bit of condensation on the cake, and it stuck just fine. The smaller things you might not need to reinforce with buttercream, but the bigger ones you do. And you do want to add, sometimes the dollops kind of give you a little bit of height and fullness and dimension, because we don't want our roses to look flat, right? We want them to look full. So buttercream is your friend, and I would use a thickened buttercream for that. Oh, I forgot to mention too, the buttercream that I did the petals with is not a thick buttercream. It's kind of a medium. So use your thickened and add just a little water. And then I'm just using a leaf tip and making my leaves. Obviously, I didn't like that one, so you can scrape off a little bit. And I'm just using the leaf tip. It's like a duckbill, and you hold it vertical, so that if you hold it up, it looks like it's a beak, is what it looks like, not sideways. Otherwise, it's not going to be a leaf. And you just put a little pressure. As you pull it out, release the pressure. And the longer you hold the pressure and pull it out, the longer of a leaf you're going to get. And use that to fill in your gaps. We really have done a lot of buttercream flowers lately, haven't we? And I have another one that I haven't even posted yet. I hope you guys don't get tired of these. I do have some a more abstract modern cakes coming up too. I have them filmed. I try to change it up a little bit, alternate a little bit, because I know you guys like the abstract modern designs, but that's not what is ordered a lot. And sometimes time-wise, I need to film what I'm already doing at the bakery. And then I'm just attaching a blush ribbon with some double-sided tape. And this is our finished product. I think she's really pretty. This was for a wedding. I'm not sure. I didn't deliver it, so I'm not sure if I added a topper or not. But that's okay. I go ahead and take my pictures when I'm done at the studio so that you guys can see them. And I hope you liked it. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my video. And if you'd like to watch some other videos, go ahead and click on the link to one of these other videos shown here. And if you would like to check out my other social media, I am on Facebook and Instagram under the same name, Sophisticakes by Mary. And please take the time to share, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you know when I upload another video. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next tutorial.